Hey folks, welcome back to this little review of Warhammer Chaosbane. We're gonna dive right back in to Chapter 3. First of all, I'm gonna throw this one out real quick. A lot of people have commented on the fact that this game sort of melts your GPU and makes your graphics card scream when you play it. So what you want to do to sort of fix a little bit of that is to enable old Vsync here, right? And I have to restart the game, so we'll be back in a sec. And we're back. And the reason for that is because, well, like I said back in my coverage of Act 1, this is in fact a console port. And it's not really spec'd for running on a PC. So there are very few graphics options and stuff, and like you can't adjust the frame rate either. So what happens is that the game is just running at an unlimited frame rate, which means it's trying to push like 280 frames per second whenever it can. And it's going to make your graphics card very sad. And it's gonna make your graphics card want to burn and explode. You don't want that. So enabling Vsync actually helps this and actually slows things down a bit, which is good. Just a quick tip. We're gonna dive right into Chapter 3 and see. I'm a bit worried. Because Act 2 was about half the length of Act 1, and yeah, what if Act 3 is even shorter? It's not impossible. I have heard rumblings that Act 4 is super short, as in like let's just get this over with thing. We have some new enemies here. Gotcha. These look like the Slaanesh enemies. They're cool. I like Slaanesh as a Chaos God. The design of everything is cool. You got these crab claws on the ladies. Got the lady parts and the crab claws. That's basically the only thing you need in a lady. So.
Hey, what?
Hey. So first of all, just I need a sec. Okay, I have to destroy these marks of Slaanesh. Gotcha. So I've heard another thing. See, when we play the beta, we couldn't like sort of access the final tier of the skills, and people have said that like for example, the Akshi missile here, right? Magic damage, energy gain, fire damage. So I've heard it said that like the etheric orb, like my bouncy orb, that the level 1 orb and the level 3 orb are actually the same skill, just that the level 3 orb does more damage. This is magic damage 1300, this is magic damage 1600. So the fire one is different, obviously, because it's fire damage. Let's look at them. Let's look at what they look like. Here is the level 1 skill. Okay. That's what that looks like. Here is the level 3 skill. Okay, that's actually not the same.
Need more power.
That looks different. It looks big. Let's see how big it actually is. Does it cover a big area? Ooh, it does. Alright. Well, that myth is busted. I'm pretty happy about that. So, again, I'm gonna explore sort of the same things as I did in the previous 2 acts when it comes to like enemy variety or environment variety, because like I said before, in Act 1 and 2 it's basically 2 maps. It's just 2 maps that you run through over and over again. These, I just click on them. That's it. I just click on them and they disappear and I got them. So this is kind of mindless. We have the same Ungors as we had in Act 1. can you tell if these like enemies behave differently? Because it just seems like they're just running into me, like a million of them, right? Okay, they got some swingy attacks. They got some jumpy jumps. Gotcha. Can they do anything else besides the swingy attacks and the jumpy jumps? What's killing these guys? Why are they dying? Are they taking damage from their friends? Is that it? Like, I genuinely can't tell what is hurting these enemies. I don't know. That's a bit weird. That is a bit weird. Alright. Well, additionally, I'm probably gonna want in this chapter to have a conversation about the nature of content. Like, what content actually is. Because when people have been like discussing this game and like the reviews are only getting worse and worse by the day, more people reach the end game and find out just like how little there is to do once you reach the end game. And how fast you get to the end of the story. And obviously the recycled environments, right? So the question is, whoops. The question is like, what is content? People are pointing out, like, you know, talking about the length of the campaign, saying that like, well, it's about the same length as the campaign in Diablo 3. Like, first of all, no, it's not. It's way shorter. But even if it wasn't, right? Even if it wasn't, let's look at Diablo 3. Let's look at Act 1 of Diablo 3. Where you start with like these big cinematics showing just the return of the demons to Tristram. You get a customized backstory for each character. You get that in this game too. So you got that. You have the outskirts of Tristram, or like the new Tristram, or whatever that you play as your hub world. In there you have a blacksmith. You can use him to craft weapons. You have different vendors where you can buy weapons that you didn't have. You have, I think I was supposed to go up there to the right first. You have a mystic where you can just transmogrify stuff and make your gear look different if you just want to like just fashion it up. And you can also like re-roll stuff on your gear, whatever. But besides that, besides the pure mechanical stuff, you also have NPCs. You have NPCs that you can talk to and interact with, who will just talk about the world, talk about just backstory and lore. And as you progress in the game, you can go back and talk to these NPCs again, and they will have new voice lines. When you go out into the world, there are side quests that are random. They can just spawn sometimes when you start the game, and sometimes they won't. So when you run through the game, like sometimes you'll encounter NPCs that wouldn't be there otherwise. Just quests and mini things to do. Every map has like optional caves you can dive into, where you can just, if you want to, get some more loot, find something cool at the end of the cave. You have certain items, like in the beginning, you had the secret cow level in Diablo 3, which is Whimsyshire, which is the cuddle bears and all of that stuff. You had to farm in specific spots to find the things you needed to craft the key to get into the secret level. And those spots wouldn't always spawn in, so you'd have to like just replay an area over and over again until you got the drop you wanted, so to speak. And then in just pure variety, you had the outskirts of Tristram, gotcha. The ruined cathedral, King Leoric's tomb, a bunch of catacombs. You had the Fields of Misery. You had Wortham, the Burning City. You had the Spider Caverns. You had the Highlands. You had Leoric's Manor. You had a prison. You had the Halls of Agony. And all of this is just Act 1, right? It's just Act 1 of the game. And in that you also had 3 distinctive bosses, granted not as interesting as for example the Great Unclean one here, but also, in fairness, the Great Unclean one is just, it's a copy of Belial. So it is a copy of an existing Diablo 3 boss fight. So compare that to here. And the more I look back on it, the more I'm disappointed by the fact that Act 2 had the same mid-boss as Act 1. Like just a Jabber's Life. It's the same. And that got me thinking a bit, because I played the original beta for this game, when there was only Act 1, right? And when I did play the original beta, that mid-boss wasn't in the game. They added him on. Probably as a response to the first sort of impressions people had with the first beta, that it was strapped for content, that there just wasn't enough stuff in there. So then they chucked in him as a mid-boss. And now they chucked in another one, the same enemy, as another mid-boss. And I'm kind of worried that for this act, right, that we're gonna get, I hope not, I hope we are not getting another Jabber's Light as the mid-boss in this act as well. I hope it's something different. But we'll see. I'll reserve judgment. It might be something different. But now that I've just explained everything you get when you just play Diablo, and bear in mind, this is just Act 1. It's just Act 1. Diablo, the original game, now it's 5 acts, but the original game was 4, just like this. And sure, even in Diablo 3, Act 4 was a bit shorter than Acts 1, 2, 3. But Act 2 and Act 3 were just as cool and just as varied and just as alive. That's kind of how I want to describe the world, how it felt. It felt alive. Oh yeah, and they treasure goblins as well, right? And shrines that could give you various sort of temporary power-ups. There were just more things going on. Let's talk about champions and elite units, where you can just bump into stronger versions of regular enemies that have certain randomized things that they can do that normal enemies can't do, and then you get more loot for killing them, stuff like that. And then you compare it to Warhammer Chaosbane here, where they take one map area and they recycle it over and over again. And there's nothing in these map areas except just hordes and hordes of trash mobs. Just regular white enemies, so to speak. No champions, no mini-bosses, no NPCs you can bump into. No side quests, nothing to side track you while you are going through it. It's just an empty world just with trash mobs. That's it. And even if you go through the same area in Chaosbane, you go through this area in Chaosbane, you go through the area in Diablo 3, and you clock in the same amount of minutes played, okay? Both take 15 minutes to go through. I'm going to argue that in those 15 minutes, you've gotten more content out of those 15 minutes of playing Diablo 3 than you got out of the 15 minutes you spent playing Warhammer Chaosbane. Content is not a measure of time. Content is not a number of minutes that it takes to get from point A to point B. Content is what happens in those minutes. What happens during that path from point A to point B. That is content. And that is where the discussion needs to be. That is where the analysis needs to be. Don't look at how many hours it takes to complete the main campaign. That's not interesting. That is not a metric by which you count how much content there is in the game. It just isn't. So, food for thought.
The Norse have been dealt with. Tell your people the forest paths are safe for now.
I can't believe it! What is your name, friend?
I am Elentier. This is Witch Hunter Voss of the Empire.
We're in your debt, Elentier. The camp isn't much, but you're welcome here.
Is this the same voice actor as Teclis? Because he pronounces camp the same way. It's a camp. It's not a camp.
We've a merchant, if you've got any gear to sell. There are shrines as well, if you wish to offer a prayer to the gods.
You say that, but the shrines don't actually do anything.
I need to tell my people the good news. Come back to me when you're ready, and we'll talk more about the temple.
Whoop, whoop, whoop. Item blessing. That's right, I have unlocked item blessing. So it says here, you can now bless your equipment by selecting an item you want to upgrade from your inventory menu. Gotcha. So, here is blessing. You have this here. You have a button to click. It's called bless an item. I'm going to show you this. I'm just going to do the quick run through that I always do when I clear the map area, looking for stuff that's green. And right clicking on the stuff that is green, because that is an improvement over my current gear. So, here's what we can do. In the God skill tree, I don't know what is collected here, but it's here as well. Okay. So you got your gems, your fragments, and then you also got these little triangle things, which you didn't know before what that is. So, if you bless an item, select an item to bless by dragging it to the center. Select fragments to bless your chosen item. Fragments are consumed in the process. Gotcha. So, and you got these things, which I don't know what I'm gonna call them, but you can place them in there as well. So, say for example, I wanna bless my sword, right? Oh God, it's just no. Wait, what? I have to maneuver. Oh, look at that. Right? I have to maneuver around my items. Because if I drag my sword over my staff, that's not going to work. So I have to maneuver it around my other items. And put it in there. No, that didn't work. Come on, game. No, I'm probably just supposed to pull them from here, right? It's not... Yeah, there we go. So this would take one of my things. Okay. I'm not going to do this because this is a super waste of resources. Okay, so what you do is you take different gems. You put them in different slots. Come on, why can't I do it? Why can't I do it? Why won't you let me do it? Game, why can't I do it? Why? Game? Jesus. I don't know. I don't know why it doesn't want to let me do it. Because this is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to put the gems into the slots. Right? Or does it do it? Oh, there we go. Now it worked. So, since I am level 28, but I'm not. I'm level 30. But this is supposed to correspond with like your level or something. So when you're level 50, it's supposed to cost like 50 of your fragments. And then you put them in. And then you use these little link things as well. Which doesn't work now for some reason. But it's probably because you're supposed to put them in some sort of order and whatnot. And they will just make your weapon better. In various ways. They do not explain anywhere in-game what the different gems will do. Or how they work together. Or what you're supposed to combine with what. Or any of that. There is nowhere in-game to find that out. You'd have to go online and find resources where people have just been experimenting and sort of figuring shit out, how it actually works. And And that's just something that's reserved for the end game anyway. You don't want to do that right now. But it exists. Just want to tell you guys that it exists. Ditch all my stuff. Shabamzo. Let's just hurry on with the story, shall we?
My people send you their thanks, Elontir. If the gods are good, perhaps they'll sleep easily tonight.
They will sleep easier once the temple has been cleansed of its evil.
Ah, yes. The temple. I've been giving that some thought.
Let me guess, you want me to do some more shit for you before you will help me with the temple?
You promised to aid us, Klimt. Do I need to refresh your memory?
Right, because that's not what happened in the last act.
Gods no! I didn't mean it like that. I don't know much about the temple myself. Children go anywhere near the ruins. But there is someone who might have the answers you seek.
He's in a different comp.
His name is Erlanger. Waldo Erlanger. He was a scholar of some sort before the Norse captured him. Erlanger knows more about the elven ruins than anyone else. If anyone knows how to get into the temple, it's him.
So now we have to literally play Where's Waldo?
Then I shall speak to this Erlanger. Where is he?
Well, that's the problem. No one's seen Erlanger in weeks. He went out into the forest on one of his expeditions and never came back.
Right, so he's dead. He hasn't been seen for weeks. He's obviously dead.
I can draw you a map of the forest and show you where Erlanger was heading. If you can find him, I'm sure he'll be able to help.
Ah, very well. But be quick about it.
Well, does that mean we have to go back out into the same forest? And see, that's also the thing in Diablo, right? It wasn't just... You had the town portal as a way of getting back into town, and certain points by which you could teleport back. So what you did was you just advanced. You went from Tristram, and then you went out in the outskirts, and from there you went to next area, and from there you went to the next area, and from there you went to the next area, and you just reached further and further. You just reached further and further out into the world. It felt like you were exploring the world. It felt like you were making progress. Here it's just you go back to the town and you enter and exit the town in the same spot each time. And this is a reskin. This is a reskin of that enemy, and he's gonna explode when he dies, right? Yeah. Come on, guys. I'm trying here. I'm really trying here, guys. I'm not even gonna fight him. Who knows? Maybe he's gonna pull me back in because it looked like he had some sort of. Yeah. Oh, that does not look good.
My life does not deserve such a sacrifice.
That does not look good. Yeah. Whatever. It is what it is. So where was I? Yeah, exploring a world. Same as Act 2. You go through some canyons. You get out into a desert. You reach the city of Alcarnus. You interact with the Sultan in the big palace. You go into the sewers. You reach an oasis. You get to another sort of arid, deserty place that looks different from the first desert. You find Zoltan Kuhl's archives and go through the Shadow Realms. It's just over and over and over again, new content, new stuff, and you just keep progressing forward. And like this is... I've been through this area. We've fought these enemies. It's one enemy type. It's one area. This is not content. I don't know what to tell you guys. This is not content. This is time ticking down on a clock. And, you know, and trash mobs, which is the standard set by Diablo 3, which I wish wasn't the standard set by Diablo 3.
This looks like the work of Skraeling's men. There is a trail leading deeper into the forest. Erlanger must have escaped, but the Norse are after him. I must reach him before they do.
Sure. I don't know. Maybe you'd find this fun as an experience if you just haven't played any other ARPGs. You're just diving into this because it's a Warhammer title. And maybe you're the kind of person who just likes to dig through anything and everything with the Warhammer IP. And maybe for you this is fine. Because, you know, you don't really have anything to compare it to. Maybe like there's a new experience for you, might be. You know what, I think I'm gonna switch back to the fire version of the orb, because I just straight up think the fire version is better, because it leaves fire on the ground. And things take damage over time. And damage over time is the name of the game. Like, I'm not even assigning new skill points. Because, you know, kind of don't need to. We went over in the past episode that you're obviously supposed to play the game on very easy if you want to level up fast. Can we talk about something else? Because I feel like I've exhausted the subject when it comes to content. Let's talk about the fact that this was very, very clearly designed only with the idea of being a couch co-op game. Like, that's what it's optimized for, that's what it's spec'd for. So what's happened is that, and you need to know this. You need to know this if you buy this game. You currently should not play it online. You shouldn't. So, first of all, we have the fact that this does not function like Battle.net. This does not have like servers. This does not require you to always be online. Your character files are saved locally. Like, you might think that's a good thing, but it's actually not. Because what that means is there's gonna be people cheating. There's gonna be people running around with duplicated items or just hacked items. Because everything about your character, all the information about your skills, your loadouts, your items and stuff, all of that is saved locally on your computer. There's no like online thing checking it. So that leads to a lot of you know, unsafe stuff that can happen. Just to keep a mind on that, but also there have been some pretty terrible issues with people playing online, such as if you play with someone, the game seems to only sort of track how that person, if they are the host, it sort of tracks how that person is advancing through the main quest, and it doesn't seem to track how you advance through the main quest. So there have been people who have been playing with someone else, and then they reached like Act 4 or something, and then they've shut down the game, go back to playing by themselves, and suddenly the game has taken them back to Act 2. Because that's sort of like where their character is saved as being, and they have to like replay all of the story content from that point, and in some cases the game has been like bugged so that they can't actually get back to that place by themselves. Right? Okay, that's the guy. Hi. Do I have to fight them? I have to fight them. Understood.
Perfection requires patience.
Let's get some some gems, because we're about to run out of this map area anyway. Oh, they died before I could do anything. Whoops.
What glorious fortune! Another moment and all would have been lost.
What is this voice acting? What is this? Oh my, oh dear. Hoop la la.
What is your name, friend? And what wondrous twist of fate brought you here?
Yes, I say. What
My
wondrous
name
twist
is
of
Ellentia.
fate.
I followed your trail from the camp.
Of course, I should have expected as much. My name is...
I know who you are. Klemt sent me to find you. He said you could assist me.
Why, yes. Well, yes, of course. I am at your service. What sort of help do you require, exactly?
Sounds like a Disney character.
There is a sorceress who calls herself the Harbinger.
The Harbinger? Ooh, quite an ominous name, if I do say so myself.
Come on,
She
come
is
on.
with Skraeling at the old elven temple. I need a way to get inside.
Oh, the temple. Why didn't you say so before? Yes, nothing could be simpler.
This is
So,
awful.
my friend, let's get back to camp. I need to review my notes and some old journals. I'm sure I have just what you need.
That voice acting is garbage. I'm sorry, but I normally give a pass on stuff like that. I wasn't gonna complain too much about the voice acting. I really wasn't. But that's the worst voice acting in this game so far. It really is. It really is. There's so many times where like I'm on a rant and I want to talk about something, but then something happens that's just wonky and I have to comment on it and then I forget what my point was.
There you are. I was just regaling Witch Hunter Voss about your daring rescue in the forest.
Yes, indeed. You're quite the hero, little prince. I didn't think you had it in you.
That's because you were off torturing peasants while I was saving your people at Kislev. Enough of this foolishness. Erlanger, how do I get inside the temple?
Ah, yes, well, as you know, Skraeling and his warband have taken over the site, so going in through the main entrance would be suicide. But in my studies of the temple and the neighboring ruins, I learned that a secret entrance exists, hidden in an area known as the Garden of Contemplation. Now, the garden has been sealed since the elves abandoned the city centuries ago. The only way to unlock the garden gate is with a magic key that they hid somewhere in the forest.
Get to the point, Erlanger.
I know of a map that shows the location of the key.
More maps.
But it's in a dangerous part of the forest. I haven't dared go after it myself.
All right, where do I find this map?
Gotcha, back out into the forests. Not exactly surprising. Excuse me, this won't take long. You know the drill. You know what we're doing here. We're looking for the green. And we're right-clicking on the things that are green. There you go. No, no. Do not want to bless a single item. Just want to donate some shit. Bam. Online functionality. So, here's the big one. This is the biggest issue. This is genuinely the worst. It's the worst. There is no online matchmaking. You can just click on like find an online game and it will look for like a session, right? Okay, do I have to kill you guys? Maybe I do. Yeah, and it will try to find a session and then it will just hook you up in someone's game, right? So far so good. It will not check if that person it's hooking you up with is the same level as you are. It will not check whether or not that person has progressed as far in the story as you have. it will just pick someone at random, doing something at random, and hook you up with them. That's it. That's all it'll do. So, you could be level 50. You could be a level 50 character in the end game, with end game gear, doing boss rushes, and you're like, let's do this online. Let's do this together with someone else. Let's join up with a game. And you'll just click on the go online stuff, and it can just throw you into the game of someone who is level 10 and on Act 1 and just running through the sewers of Act 1. You have no real way of knowing this because the UI won't show you anywhere what level the game is. It also won't show you where he is. And there's no way to like teleport to another player. So you're just gonna have to like sort of go into the sewers and try to see how tough the enemies are to fight or whatnot. Sure. And I don't know. And then find him somehow, because you won't know where in the sewers he is. There's no pointer guiding you toward him. I would show you this myself, but I can't, because like I told you, playing online can break your progression in the game to where the game bugs out and you have to like basically create a new character. That's the state of the game. And the reason why the state of the game is that is because this was designed to be a couch co-op game. And everything about the online functionality, just like everything about the end game, is an afterthought. It is something that was tacked on after the fact when they realized that this is something that people want, expect, and demand from a modern ARPG. Which again just kind of shows that this game was made by people who don't really know a whole lot about ARPGs. It's just people who, I don't know, they got a Warhammer license and thought they could make something cool out of it. But they are, I don't think they understand what an ARPG is supposed to be. Straight up. I think that's just the problem. Yeah, I can just skip all this. I don't have to fight them. Survive the ambush. What ambush? I'll just run away from it. Right? That's it. I just had to run through this map. What? I haven't oh, I actually do have objectives. Fascinating. Right? Because I thought, you know, if I just leave, doesn't that count as surviving the ambush? I guess not. I guess that doesn't count as surviving the ambush. Hey, it's the first time the game actually sort of tells you that there is an objective besides just running through the area. I'm not gonna hate. Well, this should only take a second. There you go. Got the map, now I can leave. I was supposed to kill this specific enemy. Sure. Let's leave the forest. This isn't the forest, by the way. It says leave the forest. This is not the forest. So far, Act 3 has had 2 map areas. It's had the forest, and it's had this temple. Just 2 assets, reused over and over again.
You're back! Were you successful? Do you have the map?
Of course. Here it is.
Fate smiles on us again. Truly, you are a gift from the gods. I need some time to study the map before I can give you the information you need. Return to me when you are ready to risk the forest once more.
Okay. Fragment bartering unlocked. I've read about this. This is such a disappointment. Right? Because we were talking about the fact that there's no real... Whoa. That sword is straight up 22% more damage. Jesus. Alright. That's good, I guess. See, this guy has trading now. I thought, when I first saw that icon, that like, oh shit. Not just donations. You can actually buy stuff from him. There's actually like just, he's an actual trader. No. No. So what trading is this. You can change gems that are a certain color into gems that are another color. That's it. So say you have low yellow, big green. You can just take a couple of your greens, turn them into yellows. That's it. That's what trading is. That's what trading is.
Time is wasting, Erlanger. Tell me what you've learned about the map.
Oh, yes. It's magnificent. A treasure, really. The craftsmanship and the attention to detail.
The key, Erlanger. Where is the key?
Oh, that. Well, I've got the location narrowed somewhat. Within a few square miles, more or less.
You promised you could tell us where to find the key.
I didn't say I could do it immediately. This map is ancient. It refers to landmarks that don't exist anymore. These things take time.
Immediately? Landmarks that don't exist anymore. These things take time. This voice acting actually makes me angry. It's so bad.
There must be a way to speed up the process. Think, Erlanger.
Well, more reference materials would help. I know of a cache of books hidden in the ruins that could be useful.
It's in a dangerous part of the forest.
Yes.
I'll go and get the books. Get back to work.
Even the in-game characters are frustrated by the fact that the game is just sending me back out into the same forest over and over again. Is this meta commentary? Is this the game sort of like commenting on itself? Right? Jesus. And we're back in the forest. Same forest. Same map area. Same enemies. Same art assets. Same objectives. Go from point A to point B. Click on thing. Possibly survive an ambush. Ooh, look at that. A new enemy. Ooh, it can charge at me. Well, I can just outrun it. Right? I can probably just outrun it. I probably don't have to fight any of these. Doesn't look like it. Alright. Okay. Ah, I took a wrong turn. Now I actually have to fight something. Let's unload all my skills. Everything goes boom boom. Hey, shut up. And on we go. So, again, really hope that the mid-boss of this act is actually going to be like a new enemy type. This is important. I've seen people commenting on that like specifically in Act 3, a lot of people had to lower the difficulty because the enemies just do a ton more damage. Like a stupid amount of more damage. Yeah, whatever. Here, have some gold. Like maybe they wanted to give them a different feel, so they're a bit more squishy, but they also deal more damage. But alright, sure. It's not enough to make it feel varied, just that like, yeah, the enemies do a little bit more damage in this act. But otherwise, it's just, you see, it's just a million of these enemies, and this is gonna be like a little rant from the Warhammer fanboy in me, okay? Like, if I am fighting against the forces of chaos, I'm okay, so I can't actually run through these mobs. I have to fight them a bit. I kind of expected more from the forces of chaos.
My spells need more power.
I kind of expected them to not just be
Does not deserve such
like a million of them. I'm fighting a million demons,
does not deserve such a sacrifice.
and they go down in a
My
second.
life does not deserve such a sacrifice.
Have you played Warhammer? You think is that chaos to you? Just no, that's goblins, right? I have to wait so I can drink a healing potion. That's goblins. That's the undead. That's halflings. Remember? It's not chaos. Chaos is not a swarm of cannon fodder. Just a million of them, and it's another Jabberslide. It's another Jabberslide.
My magic is not ready yet.
That's it. That's all it is.
Even in death, you are beneath me.
It's another Jabberslide. No, but that's not chaos. Chaos demons are few and really hard-hitting, really dangerous. Like fiends of Slaanesh, stuff like this. Why am I wading through a million of them? Why do they melt in a second or so when I shoot at them? And that just makes me feel like it's just going by the sort of standardized idea today of what an ARPG is supposed to be that was coined by Diablo. And that sort of makes this game fail in the most fundamental way possible, which is being a Warhammer game. That's what I really wanted from this, right? Just put me in a place where it feels like I'm interacting with the Warhammer universe. Give me the Warhammer experience. Do you, who are watching this, do you feel like this is the Warhammer experience? Jesus. Come on. You feel like this is like tickling that Warhammer bone inside of you? Running through a single map area, fighting just faceless enemies, like that have no real identity in how they play. Do you? Is this enough?
Perfection
Like,
requires patience.
like I know. I played Warhammer, okay? Played my Warhammers. I've collected the miniatures. All the way from Hero Quest to Blood Bowl to Warhammer Fantasy to Warhammer 40k. I've done all of them. I've played the Warhammer games. I played Shadow of the Horned Rat. I played Dawn of War.
My life does not deserve such a sacrifice.
Like I know what Warhammer is supposed to be. I know what I want out of a Warhammer title. I know what the Warhammer world can be. I know what the lore can be. I know the immersiveness. There's like no Warhammer game that is like, or at least fantasy, that has put me into the world, like for example Shadow of the Horned Rat. Right? Because that was a passion project and they knew. This is just someone who got a license to use Warhammer art assets. That's what it is. And then it's the bare minimum. If I were to describe this game experience with just one phrase, I would use the phrase the bare minimum. It's frustrating. Like, the first video I made had a more positive tone. And the second one was a bit of a dampener. And this third one...
I brought back the volumes that seemed the most relevant.
I'm starting to get frustrated. I feel myself that I'm getting frustrated by a lot of this disappointment.
Ah, yes. Oh, these are just what I need. I'll get to work right away. Come back to me when you're ready, and I should have some good news for you.
Okay. Same as before. Go through the loot. That's a green. That's a green. That's a big green. That's also a green. That's a green. Ooh, look, I'm starting to look more fancy. Starting to look like Techless. And ditch all my stuff. Cool. Let's take a look at some of our skills and stuff. Because we have like 14 skill points that I'm not using. This one, fire. I want to do fire damage, right? Arcane hail. I'm only using one generator because there's only ever reason to use one generator. Step between worlds. I can do fire damage with my teleport if I want to. That's probably not going to do like a whole lot of damage. Can do an explosion, I guess. What am I using here? The vortex, a dome that slows enemies. Do I have anything better than that? No. Laser ray, doesn't seem interesting. Let's just go with like a fire blast instead. Blast number 2, like that. Concentration, mastered, using that, very good. Consuming energy heals all players. Okay. What's consuming energy? Is that spending energy? Or just picking up like bloodlust orbs? Who knows? I don't know. Here we go. This is what I want. Fire damage increase. 20% straight up. And I have like pretty much everything spec'd to be fire damage. So we're gonna remove 10% gold. And instead do 20% more fire damage. That should be what I want. This is other manipulation when you guide the spell. When you guide the spell, it does 20% more damage. Stupid good. When we get like some more skill points, we're probably going to be using that one. And this, we've already confirmed that like the companion that increases loot radius, it doesn't actually do anything. And this is a bit worrying about this as well, because people have been looking at these passive skills and sort of confirmed that a lot of them don't actually do anything. Right? What do you mean you can't unlock this favor yet? Oh, because I didn't click on this one. Yeah, sure. Okay. So, there was like a skill with the Slayer that you had like a passive that should make a skill last longer. And they timed it. And without the passive, the skill lasts for 8 seconds. With the passive, the skill lasts for 8 seconds. So the skill doesn't actually do anything.
Clemt, where has Erlanger gone?
He left. Something about needing cross-references for his research.
Actually, it's good you are here, Ellentir. I need your help.
You have to go out into the forest.
Now what?
One of our hunting parties is overdue. I'm afraid something might have happened to them. Could you go and take a look?
We're not here to be your nursemaid, Clemt. They're your people. Deal with the problem yourself.
Have you no mercy, witch hunter? These people could be in danger.
I will do it, Clemt, if for no other reason than the witch hunter opposes it. Tell me where I should begin my search.
See, it's like they don't... It's like they didn't really know how to progress the story. So they just came up with these sort of fetch quests where like, for some reason, you have to go back out into the woods and do this thing. It's not exactly related to the greater story, Because the greater story isn't all that complicated. I don't know what to say at this point about this. You see this? You see this? I feel like I can't comment. I don't have anything more interesting to say about this. You cannot look at this and tell me that this is $60.
My magic is not ready yet.
Right? You can't. And that's why like I could never recommend someone to buy this game at full price. And guess what? You won't have to. You won't have to. I have to. I had to pay full price for this so I could show this to you. So that I could make you understand. Right? I had to suffer through this. But this game, don't buy it at launch. Don't do it. Give it a week. Give it a week. And this game is going to be 50% off. Straight up. Not even lying. Give it a week. And you will be able to get this game for $30. They already know it. Guaranteed, after this weekend, after the impressions by early buyers, the developers already know that this game is gonna get slaughtered in all reviews if it continues staying at this price point. But they can't change it now. Too many people have pre-ordered. Too many people aren't looking at YouTube videos like these. Too many people are not gonna they're not gonna know, and they're just buying it because it's got the Warhammer license and the Warhammer name, and it's a new ARPG, and people are just excited by that fact alone. And it's gonna take more than 2 hours. It's gonna take more than 2 hours until you figure out. Same character design as every other Champion of Chaos. Same tight pants, same beer belly, different helmet.
These slaves are mine now. They have offered themselves to
You see this?
and partaken of the gods' dark delights.
Like, do you see this? The laziness of this character design.
Just as you will, in time. Take him.
And he runs away, waddles away. And it's like, and it kind of pisses me off how all the developers have been in interviews like, oh yeah, we're so passionate about Warhammer. We're so passionate about the idea of being able to do a Warhammer game. And I feel like I'm being lied to. I feel like I'm being lied to. This does not feel like passion to me. And it sucks, because I love Warhammer. I bought this game on the hope that it would be what they promised. And what they promised was a game that was worth $60, because that's the price they put on it. So obviously that's what they think it's worth. That's what they think is a fair price for the game. Like, I don't know what to tell you. This is not a passion project. You cannot play this game for more than a couple of hours and try to tell me that this is a passion project. But you will play it for a couple of hours before you will be able to figure that out. And by that time, you will not be able to get a refund. Alright, that's how Steam works. Played it for, what is it, more than 2 hours, you can no longer refund it. So all the early buyers are gonna buy it, and they're gonna realize. And they're gonna feel like I feel. Like I got taken for a bit of a ride. And then they're gonna lower the price of the game. Then they're gonna put it at $30 where it should be.
I found your people, Clemt. But Skraeling got to them first.
He killed them?
No. They offered their souls to Slaanesh. They are dead now. If it matters, their end was swift and painless.
Sometimes I think
No, it
that's
wasn't.
the best any of us can hope for in this accursed place. Thank you for the news. At least now we know the truth. I should go to the shrine now and say a prayer for my departed friends. Farewell.
Elendil, where have you been? I have exciting news.
You've determined the location of the key?
Yes, the elves hid it inside a monument deep in the forest. The books you recovered provided the crucial information. It's really quite a fascinating story. Would you like to hear it?
Don't be ridiculous. Just tell me about the key.
Well, if you insist. There is a hidden path that leads to the monument. I don't know its exact location, but I can give you a general area to search in.
Good. I shall go at once.
You know where we're going, people. You know what art assets you're gonna see. You know what enemies you're gonna encounter. And it's like, I know what it's gonna be, and I'm still gonna be disappointed, right? See this? Imagine if you paid $60 for this. To play this one map over and over again. Because that's, you know, the reality of it. So let's talk about content. Remember what I said in the beginning of this video? Right? And let's revisit that talking point. When you look at this. You think this is content? Honestly, I'm asking you as a viewer, when you look at this. Do you think this is content? It just feels a bit pathetic, doesn't it? I'm I'm struggling. I'm struggling with what to say. This doesn't happen often, right?
My life does not deserve such a sacrifice. My magic is not ready.
People who know me, they know that I don't shut up, right?
I guess I gotta say, Cookie.
Yeah. I talk too much. I take forever to get to the point. I never shut up. I love listening to my own voice. I love hearing myself sound smart about shit.
You dare seek the key to the sacred garden? Seize the unbeliever and bring the sacred key to me.
And I just... like, I don't know what to say anymore. Oh look, I have to reach the monument. Oh, I reached it. Yeah, I don't have to fight them. These guys I probably have to fight. Because they're in my way. So there's a bit of a different tone to this video from the previous ones, right? What stage is this? In the 5 stages of grief. It's anger? No.
My life does not deserve
No, it's depression.
sacrifice.
I'm past anger. Anger was previous in this video. That was earlier in the video. Now we're at the depression stage. That's what we're at. You're going through it with me, viewers. Alright. But hey! Maybe once we get to the end game, everything will be different, right? Maybe this is... You know what? It's just the leveling experience. That's it. It's just the leveling experience. The leveling experience in Diablo isn't like hyper either, right? Actually, no, that's bullshit. The leveling experience in Diablo is pretty much the most fun part of the game.
I disagree.
Going from 1 to 70 at a new season, I love it. When you can experiment with builds, when you can just sort of go through the game the way it was in the vanilla days, before everything became about big sets and melting trash mobs in seconds. That's... Okay, but I like it. And this is my rant. Don't stop my rant. The leveling part is supposed to be an enjoyable part of the game. Can we at least agree on that?
No, actually, I thought the leveling part of the apple was
I didn't say... I said... Can we agree on the part that the leveling part of the game is supposed to be a good part of the game?
Then I said I get
That is the monument. Now I have only to find the key.
Someone that listened to download that person.
Alright. Can we talk about the auto-targeting in this? Alright? It doesn't work on enemies that are moving, because it is only aiming at where the enemy is, not where the enemy is going to be. So an enemy that runs to the side, I actually cannot hit them with my generator skill.
The key is mine. Now to use the runestone and escape.
See, look at this. I can shoot them when they're running toward me. But if they're not running toward me, let's see. Yeah, see? Can't hit them. And since I can't like manually target the skill either. And we're out. Like, I'm at the point where like just my overall sentiment toward this game is that like I just want to be done with it. And that's so fucked up, because I love Warhammer and I love ARPGs. And I play this game and I feel like I just want to be done with it. So I apologize. I have to apologize for the bummed out tone of this particular episode. Like, I hear it myself. This is a drag to listen to. 500 gold. Great.
Ooh. Did you find it? Did you find the key?
I did. It was precisely where you said it would be.
I knew it! Oh, if those fools back at the university in Nuln could see me now. I need to research the finer aspects of the key's operation. Return to me when you are ready, and together we shall unlock the Garden of Contemplation.
More skill points. How many do we have? 8. I haven't even kept track of that. So I have 10% EXP gain. It's probably better to just do 20% more damage on guided skills. It's not like getting to the end game. Like, I'm already at level 37. And the maximum level is 50. So getting to max level is not going to be an issue. Which is, again, why everyone talking about how people who pre-ordered the game is getting more EXP, as if that was a problem. It's not. And even if it was, it would be the gold. And what is it? 5%. 5% more gold. That's nothing. It's not a problem.
It is time, Erlanger. Tell me how to use the key.
You know why? Because this game doesn't have a gold sink. This game doesn't actually have anything to spend gold on. Because it doesn't have, you know, traders or vendors.
Ah, yes, about that.
It's only just if you want to respec and re-roll your skill tree. And you have to spend some gold. That's about it.
The process is somewhat complicated. The key must be used as part of a very specific ritual in order to open the garden gate.
You don't need gold to revive when you die, because it doesn't require a set amount. It just requires 10% of your gold.
The smallest mistake could destroy the key and render the garden inaccessible forever.
You have a solution, I trust?
Yes. Just hear me out. You make your way through the forest to the garden gate. I'll follow at a safe distance. Once you've dealt with any dangers in the area, I'll join you and open the gate.
Don't be a fool. What if Skraeling's men discovered you?
Well, what about Witch Hunter Voss? He could protect me.
Now look here.
It's either that or I try and teach you the ritual. That could take several days, perhaps as much as a week.
Very well. Stay close to Voss and don't do anything foolish.
Don't worry. You won't regret this. You have my word on it.
So what's the big twist? That Erlanger here is the keeper of secrets? Alright, I'm just gonna accept it. We're back in the one out of the 2 map areas. I'm not even gonna be mad, we have moved on to the final step. We are in the acceptance phase. Right? You know, I have been arguing with people on the Chaosbane subreddit who swear by this and are talking about like, hey, Diablo 3 was a bad game at launch. Do you remember how you couldn't play for the first 24 hours? As if that means anything, right? As if that's a point of contention against the game. It was like, yeah, you couldn't play it for the first 24 hours because they had server issues, because they hadn't realized themselves how popular the game would be. But guess what? Then you could play it. And I did. I played Diablo 3 every single day for an entire summer. It's all I did. Just play Diablo 3, wake up in the morning, play Diablo 3. I lost an entire summer of my life just playing Diablo 3. Because it was amazing. At launch, vanilla Diablo 3 was amazing at launch. Changed the game. Reinvented the genre of ARPGs. Don't tell me anything else. Just you're repeating memes if you're just saying that like Diablo 3 at launch was a bad game. No, it wasn't. Diablo 3 at launch was not a bad game that over time became a great game. Diablo 3 at launch was a great game that over time became one of the best games of all time. That's you're not gonna convince me otherwise. Because I was there. I know. I was there from launch. I played it. I've put in my 2, 3, 4,000 hours of gameplay into that game. And It's not even just Diablo fanboyism. We can hold this game up to Grim Dawn. And the story. And compare those. We can hold this game up to Torchlight. We can hold this game up to Pagan Online that's not even out yet, and it just looks more interesting. So it's not about Diablo fanboyisms. It's about the fact that that Grim Dawn. Oh look, a even bigger Jabberslide. Right. Grim Dawn has never cost $70. Path of Exile, granted, it has a bunch of like just cosmetics and stuff that you can buy and stash space and whatever. The base game's free. And I've seen people talking about how like, oh, Path of Exile is actually the more expensive game because you have to spend $1,000 on cosmetics if you want to look cool. So, what about the base game? What about the actual game? How much does that cost? Oh, it's free? Gotcha. It's like comparing, you know, Artifact to Hearthstone, right? Remember that? Remember that whole debacle? Where everyone's like, oh shit, Hearthstone, it's gonna... It's out. People are tired of Hearthstone, we want something new. It doesn't represent quality anymore, Blizzard. And then Artifact shows up and claims it's gonna be the big Diablo killer. And then it's like, oh shit, you have to pay money every time you want to play a game of this collectible card game. And you have to pay for the base game itself, while Hearthstone's free to play. And then you had people talking about how like, no, this is actually a way more fair game in terms of price point. It's actually way more affordable than Hearthstone. It's, when you think about it, having to cut off a finger and donate it into this little slot machine here whenever you want to actually play a round of this game, when you think about it, it's actually more reasonable than Hearthstone. That game that I spent probably 1,000 hours on without playing a dime, paying a dime.
Stay back. This shouldn't take long.
That's what people are saying about this too, right? Yeah, Diablo 3 had a bad launch too. So when you think about it, right? It's the same. No, it's not. Diablo 3 at launch was a game changer. It was such a fantastic game. It had its problems, obviously. I'm not saying it was perfect by any means. It had its problems, which were addressed over time.
Slay the unbeliever! Do not let him defile the sacred garden!
But the base game, even with all those flaws, still a fantastic game. It had so much. Had so much content, so much replay value, so much you wanted to return to over and over and over and over again.
You've done it! The path to the temple is clear.
Go on, elf. I'll stay here with Erlanger while you confront Skraeling. If he is like the others, he will be wielding a chaos relic of great power. Once he has been dealt with, leave the relic to me.
And I know the developers have never sort of like outright went out and stated that like, oh yeah, we're a Diablo killer, we're gonna be the next big thing. I know. But they priced the game as if it was gonna be. They put this price tag on it. That's basically telling us what they think of the merits of the game. If you tell me, if you put the price tag $60 on the game, you're effectively telling me that this is a $60 game. What does that mean to you? Look at this. This temple, it looks cool. Look at this design. It's got the river of blood and all that. It's implied that it's been all this sacrifice and whatnot. But it's just a set piece. It's like a worshipping an idol of Slaanesh, but like there's no... Like, someone spent time designing this. And did it well. It looks cool. Some thought went into this little place here. Some love went into this. But then it came to the rest of the game and the execution of the story. And what are they doing with this? Walk around here. You can just imagine what they thought when they designed this. What there could be. Maybe at some point they thought that like there could be NPCs. Maybe there could be that sort of thing in the story where you could like interact with worshippers of chaos in some way. Maybe there was more to it from the beginning. Maybe this was supposed to be like some sort of set where you had to fight a boss and you had to like interact with certain elements of this scene and whatnot. Maybe there was something here. Could have shown up here and the NPCs could have talked about what they found. But instead, we get, ooh, oh my, I found a key.
You have desecrated the sacred garden, and now you force your way into the presence of Slaanesh itself.
So this is the end boss of this chapter, which means that this chapter did not even have a mid-boss.
What is your desire? Speak, and the god may answer.
I am not interested in your lies, Skraeling. I'm here for the Harbinger.
The sorceress? She is not here, but she is somewhere close. Oh yes, I can feel it. It was she who led me to this temple, where I claimed the Gauntlet of Torment and became a champion of Slaanesh. Thanks to her, I will become the next Lord of Chaos and command the might of the Horde. She calls herself the Harbinger, but that isn't her name. Her real name is Elspeth Bale, and she was born in the city of Nuln.
Why is he telling me this?
There is so much that you don't know. Even now she watches from the shadows, winding you in her web. You want her? She can be yours. Offer yourself to Slaanesh, and all things are possible.
The Azure do not bend the knee to chaos. Better a clean death than a life in thrall to Slaanesh.
As you wish.
Alright, now we have to fight the Keeper of Secrets. It's a cool design. I like the Keeper of Secrets as a demon. So apparently in this boss fight, there is some sort of orb or something. Let's see. That's gonna show up. I don't know. And I think you're supposed to like not touch it. I don't know. Because it's a trick. We'll see. So I'm very easy with all my fire buffs and stuff. As you can see, I am absolutely melting this. So yeah, that orb over there. That orb is a trick. Down there. I'm supposed to not touch it. I'm supposed to stay the hell away. Okay, so we have to destroy these, right? Just like the Bloodthirster. Destroy her towers. And then she's back to normal. Okay. Throw out some tornadoes. Heal up. Can't do my big thing yet, but I'll just burn her up. I'll just burn her up in a second. It really feels like they just blew their load on the Great Unclean One. That was their big thing that they were going to release in advance of the game to just impress everyone. And the rest is not as well thought out. It just isn't. The gauntlet is ancient and perfectly made, a gift fit for a king. It conjures visions of power and authority, of glory, wealth, and adoration. The relic reaches into your soul, dredging up your deepest, most secret desires. It's so weird to have these little snippets of, like, narration here. That's not in the game otherwise. Why can't they just, at least if they're gonna have narration, let the narrator from the opening cinematic actually narrate this, instead of just complete silence? This is nitpicking. This is actually nitpicking. Alright.
The gauntlet is not for the likes of you, elf. Only an iron will and a cold heart can resist its temptations. Let me deal with it.
Take it away. I want nothing to do with it.
Congratulations, my friend. I knew you could do it. I knew it from the moment I saw you. I sensed the battle with the demon and came as quickly as I could. You have done well, Elentier. An ancient and wicked spirit has been banished from the world. But what of the Harbinger? Where is she?
She is close. Skraeling could sense her, yet I cannot.
So it's him, it's the old man, right?
Skraeling was right.
There we go. She is the Harbinger.
You should have taken his offer. Now it's too late.
So this red flashing light, because I'm at low health here, is kind of annoying during this conversation. Also, apparently there is like a damage over time thing that this boss does. There have been people who have killed this boss, and then while the cutscene sort of plays, they die to the damage over time thing. And then they're like locked out of it and have to replay the boss fight. That should be fixed. That should be fixed.
The old world will soon be mine.
She tricked me. By the gods, the Harbinger was right before my eyes, and I never sensed a thing.
There was no way you could have known, young prince. The Harbinger is a sorceress of Vsync, the changer of ways, the most mercurial chaos god. Her powers are beyond mortal ken. Given time, I might have seen through her spell, but I was forced to remain with the Waystone. Perhaps she counted on that.
But she led us to Skraeling. Why? It doesn't make sense.
Unless...
What?
It was Kessler who told us that the Harbinger was searching for a champion to lead Kul's horde. But what if that was a lie? What if she's been searching for these champions so she can eliminate her competition?
And she's made us her assassins.
Now her rivals are dead, and she has collected their relics. There is no one left to stop her now.
Except for us. But how do we find her now? Skraeling is dead and there is no trail for us to follow.
There may be a way, but I dare not attempt it here. We must return to Nuln at once. Meet me at the Waystone when you are ready to depart, but make haste. I fear that Magnus has little time left.
No way. No way. They didn't even make a final act. They didn't even make a fourth act. It's just straight up return to Nuln. They're just gonna reuse the art assets from Act 1. Like for real. Are they just gonna reuse the assets from Act 1? If they are, my review of this game is going to be changed from wait until it's on sale to just straight up don't buy this. That's it. It has to be. It just, that would be so unforgivable. That would be a slap in the face, developers.
Fortune is with us, young prince. The Harbinger may have tricked us, but her arrogance may yet be her undoing.
Indeed?
When she attacked you at the temple, you managed to wound her before she could escape.
Really? When did that happen? I didn't see that happen.
It was barely a scratch, nothing more.
But all wounds bleed, do they not? A few tiny drops were all I required. Using the proper rituals, I was able to track the Harbinger to her lair.
The blood, of course. Why didn't I think of it myself? Let us go, at once.
It's not so simple as that. The path to the Harbinger leads into the realm of chaos itself.
Oh, okay. So there is going to be an Act 4.
I must prepare for what lies ahead, as should you. When you are ready, join me inside the tower in Nuln.
Let's see.